we're live now on YouTube, Michael.
Okay. Hello, YouTube.
So don't swear. But you know how I'm adult, it comes.
You're always the one that swears.
Well, it's not that because it
I'm a
comes
good
up.
boy.
There's sound, and I got to be really quick with like that. And I got it. So there, I say there's sound, and then we're gonna go at this right now. Here we go. Hey everybody, this is Dr. Kevin McGovern, and it's time for another episode number 78 of the Prove It Live podcast. Today's episode titled So, and another so many. Why would you do that? So stay tuned. It's going to be a great show. And without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to my very handsome co-host, Mr. Mike Ferry. Mike, take it away.
Thank you so very much, recorded Kevin McGovern. I appreciate the kind sentiment, and welcome everybody to the Prove It Live podcast. I am indeed Mike Ferry from the Farm Baseball Performance Institute, alongside the aforementioned Dr. Kevin McGovern from Perfect Motion Sports Therapy. And I'm really excited about the show today because we are going to talk about some, we've got a little long-winded the last few times and didn't get to some, why would you do that? So we have some of those. We also basically is going to be talking the entire episode about why would you do that. There's lots of stuff out there, Kevin, to ask why would you do that? Why would you do that?
Why would you do that?
Why would you do that? Why would you do that? So let me just address right out of the gate. I am rocking my my Cubs jersey here.
Yeah,
my new Cubs jersey.
That's I like that.
So for those that don't know, my wife is originally from Chicago, from just a little north of Chicago, and her whole family are all Cubs fans. And we were out there for a trip for her parents' 50th anniversary, 51st actually, and
50th wedding anniversary.
51st wedding anniversary. And we all caught a Cubs game. Now, everyone that watches the show or listens to the show knows that I wear I try to have a new throwback almost for every episode. This is
kind of like your uniform.
It's kind of my thing, right? It's my little thing, my little fun thing to do with the podcast. And with all of the jerseys that I have, I didn't even realize it. I'm not sure. I did not have a Cubs jersey. I was going to so I had nothing to bring out there to wear to support the Cubbies. And so while we we're out in Chicago, I picked up this little number. No name in the back, no number, just a blank. But that's why I'm rocking this one today. And it was a great game. Cubs win. It was a bunch of
Cubs win.
Good take. Wrigley's a good take. Absolutely. It's fun. I hadn't been to a ball game in quite a bit, so it was fun. And it was hard. It was a little heartbreaking to see. They were playing the Brewers, and one Hunter Renfroe hit an absolute missile off the jumbotron left center field, and I was like, he was indeed. Just not so long ago. It seems only like yesterday we had that guy, but such is the life of the current Red Sox fan.
What are you going to do, right? Nothing you can do.
What are you going to do? Enjoy baseball in whatever form it comes in. That's what I say. So I'll be a Cubs fan for the year. I actually wouldn't mind seeing, I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't mind seeing Tampa Bay win this year. I know you're a Yankees fan. I know you want to see that, but I really wouldn't mind seeing that. I mean, they've put a good squad together.
I had to endure 2004 with a whole week of horrific baseball, horrific, error, but now I've endured going on 2 months of horrific baseball. So
I think you're fine though. What's the lead at now?
Well, they won today, so it's maybe 3 or 4 games. So it was 15 and a half.
Wow.
15 and a half. I mean,
wow.
In the last, I think I saw a stat. The Yankees were 4-12 in the last 18 or 20 games, and their starting pitching, the ERA, 2.77.
Well, I've got some good news.
It's hard to get past 0, right? Because that's what's happening.
I got good news for you. They're up 5 games.
Oh, good. All right,
5 games.
All right,
so they're gonna be fine. Now, they're gonna be fine for getting into the playoffs or winning the division. But yeah, it is a little dicey. The months of August and September aren't the ones you want to be playing bad baseball, obviously. But I think they're going to be fine. The only problem is, as you know, is they have a severe medical problem, right? I mean, people drop on that roster like it's their jobs.
Dude, Andrew Benintendi just broke his wrist.
That's unreal.
On a swing, he broke his wrist. So he needs he needs surgery. And so that means, you're out for the year, man.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. He's definitely out for the year. There's no way he's coming back with a broken wrist. Not a chance.
Right.
Not a chance. Right. All right. So should we kick off the top of the order?
Sure.
We're going to start off with someone we haven't really talked about. You probably haven't heard of him, at least from us. And his name is Little Richie. Teacher man. And people, if listening, might say, geez, you guys just beat a dead horse about this guy. I know we do. But we're going to explain why a little bit today in a little greater detail. So I was telling Kevin off here recently, I'm like, my Twitter feed, and I follow just lots of baseball stuff. NCAA schools, minor league organizations, independent league organizations, travel ball, you name it, we follow it. And my feed is constantly flooded with Little Richie. And it's like he just doesn't stop. And he's getting crazier by the second, in my opinion.
Like, how he's like dictators, right? Would get nuts, right? They get all these followers, and then they would start to get mad, and then they would go crazy, right?
That's the thing. So, God forbid somebody call him out on some wacky, weird, term that he just made up. Right. Pivoting your forearm, for an example, or is it the wrist? I forget. You don't pivot, but anyway, if someone calls it out, and then he doesn't even have to reply. It's just his cult followers just chiming in and defending him, coming to his rescue. And what's driving me more and more crazy is, so he has one guy that he lays claim to, Aaron Judge, and Aaron is obviously having a monster year. And so every video you see is Aaron Judge. And still, and I challenge anybody, anybody to show me a video of where Aaron Judge is doing what Richie is saying to do, because he's not. He's not.
We had last week. We showed it.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. We actually showed the adjustment that he made away from what Richie's teaching, and lo and behold, having a career year. What do you know? Okay. So for those listening, we got a little video of Richie up here, and he's trying to snap that, and the ball's not moving. That thing's supposed to snap.
I want to get him to go in full motion.
Out front. When I swing, my force is applied instantly, automatically back here. And because of that, my ball flies right over there. Okay.
Oh my God.
So I've got to stretch.
Let's go back
instantly, and my ball flies back here. And because of that, my ball flies right over there.
Okay. So for those watching at home, he has what it looks like. It's one of those training bats that are like a little, like a 1/2-inch pipe, Mike, right? I'm sure you use that.
Yeah.
Right?
Of course. Absolutely.
So it's got a real grip of a baseball, like a metal baseball bat. And he's got a wiffle ball with a hole in it that he slides down to his hands. And he shows a traditional swing going like at $6 million man speed, right? At 0.6 miles an hour. So nothing's happening, right? And then he says, you got to do it this way. And he does some fakakta swing, and the ball literally flies out perpendicular to him. He's like, see?
Yes,
So what? See what? What does that prove about? See?
Right. Yeah. It just proves that he's like engaging his wrists and extending way too early. No.
See, what does that see? What am I seeing? This is what I don't get.
Now you got your calendar up there.
Oh, yeah, I got my calendar. Sorry, I forgot I'm sharing the screen. Good thing it wasn't bad. Woo! Hey, now. Well, I'm getting people. I'm a popular guy. People are calling. I got this. Good thing it wasn't anything bad, right? Good thing it wasn't. Have you heard of?
I think it wasn't somebody's insurance.
All right. Have you heard this? Have you heard? I know we're getting off topic. Have you heard of MAP?
Yes, I have. Yeah, it's hard not to. Yeah.
So again, getting into as we're talking about all of this, what's happening today is really just a destruction of social media, and we can get back to Teacher Man, but we had the U.S. Open tennis this week, which is still going on. One of the greatest women's tennis players ever, Serena Williams, lost, and she's out. And that was a huge story. One of the other stories is probably one of the best tennis players, maybe arguably ever, or at least in the top 5. Djokovic couldn't come because apparently people can't come into the country legally if they're unvaccinated.
That's correct.
He could have hypothetically went around, right? Landed in, what he could have done is landed his plane in Guadalajara and just walked across the border and got into the country. But if you come in, you can't. So anyway, and he's not vaccinated. And dude, it was amazing how many of his countrymen were absolutely destroying this guy. Like, oh, you're not vaccinated. I mean, here's a guy who's a world-class athlete, right? World class.
Yep. In phenomenal shape.
I mean, dude, even Serena's match lasted over 3 hours. That was only 3 sets. The men especially play 5 sets. I mean, it could 3.5, 4 hours.
I can relate. I had a 25-minute bike ride today.
Yeah, right.
I can relate.
Yeah. I mean, I played 9 holes of golf today. I can relate. It's a lot, right? It's hot out. But anyway,
not easy being an athlete.
Yeah, it's tough, dude. So, and of course, the whole vaccine thing. And of course, I decided, like, I've had enough. I've had enough of the vaccine stuff. Okay. I've had
exhausting.
A lot of people who allegedly are smart. I've got a lot of patients who allegedly are smart. They're heads of biotech companies, this, that. This disease has turned people into idiots. Okay. Yes, a lot of people died. My brother-in-law died. I get it. Okay. My brother also had leukemia. Okay. I get it. All right. But one
comorbidities. Was the average.
Yes. But one thing is a fact that we were told we wouldn't get it and we wouldn't spread it if we got vaccinated. Those are the 2 biggest lies in the history of mankind. There's no bigger lie than that. And people say, well, they didn't really mean it. What? I listened to Fauci, the president of the United States, and the CDC say, and I'm vaccinated. I got 3 shots. I'm not but I didn't get COVID. Never got COVID. But at this, so we,
that you know of.
Yeah, that I know of. Great point. That I know of. So we weren't going to get it. We weren't going to spread it. 2 of the biggest lies in the history of mankind. Not only do people get it, but there's some studies out there that says if you're vaccinated, you might be a magnet to it. Right? But really smart people, like this guy saying, literally on Twitter, I can pull it up, but I'm embarrassed for the guy. Well, there wasn't herd immunity. Dude, hi. Herd immunity by, I looked it up. Herd immunity, bunch of people who are immune.
Right.
So you can't have, because I kept saying, I go back to the whole thing. I go back to very simple things. You and I don't have polio. We don't have scarlet fever. We don't have the measles. We don't have the mumps. We don't have anything. Why?
We're vaccinated against them.
Vaccinated.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, you have to realize that, what has been given out is not technically a vaccination, right? It's an mRNA
but Michael,
technology.
They're calling it a vaccine.
Right.
But don't call it something, but don't say it's a vaccine because it's not.
No, I hear you. They did the old switcheroo. They kind of changed the name of what vaccine is. It's not an inoculation.
What herd immunity is. Yes.
Yeah.
They've changed language, and that goes down a bad road, man. You want to look up the end of civilization and we have dictatorships. Research Hitler. Okay. Research how they started changing the language. That's where it started, getting people on side, changing. Next thing you know, we had World War II. Okay. History repeats itself. They're changing the language to fit this. I don't care whether you're left, right, here, there. We were told on TV millions of times, you won't get it, you won't spread it. It's a lie.
If it's on TV, it has to be true.
They're still pushing it, and it hasn't worked. People who are boosted get it. The president of the United States just got it twice. Okay. There's no more Fauci got it. There's no more people boosted. But the whole thing is, well, they didn't die. Well, we don't know they would have died anyway, right? We don't know. So
yeah, I think, I mean, look, it's exhausting.
Let's just say this guy was relatively intelligent. To hear people with intelligence say, no, that didn't happen, or no, well, he didn't really mean it. Like, dude, I'm watching it. I'm watching the words come out of people's mouth. Don't get it. Don't spread it. And it's insane how people say, no, they didn't say that. What do you mean they didn't say that? I heard them watching them.
I'll tell you this. I'm going to do us a favor. I'm going to use that as a segue to bring it back.
Bring it back. We're going back.
Because this is what it is. People, and I don't think it's really even intelligent. I think there's really intelligent people, but there's also a lot of intelligent people who are trusting, who believe in their medical society, they believe, or community rather, they believe in their government. And so, and once it's there, they don't want to.
You should, right? I mean, that's, you're hoping government is looking out for the best interests of mankind. That would be its purpose.
And nobody likes to feel like they were duped. You know what I mean? Nobody likes to admit that, to feel that. So
that's the best thing. You said that. You said that about a few things. No one wants to admit they've been duped, right? And we've all been duped. We've all been duped. All been duped. And
absolutely.
It's not a good feeling, right?
No.
We've all been duped. Yeah.
I've been duped just as much as the next guy.
Yeah.
Right. So, fool me once, right?
I'm divorced. I've been duped.
Fool me twice, strike three.
Right. Exactly.
So, but this is relevant to what we're talking about, right? With the baseball community, and all of it is actually because the divisiveness, like everything is so binary now, right? There's no middle nuance to anything, right? And I think a lot of what you're seeing and like social media in the baseball community about, the swings and the pitching, nobody wants to admit that they were wrong. They're wrong. I mean, you can show them. In fact, there's studies, and I wish I don't have a link. So if anyone listening, you have to look it up for yourself. Sorry, I wasn't prepared for this. This was not on the agenda to talk about, but we're just riffing. So, I know that there's been massive amounts of research showing that when, if anybody, no matter what your belief is, faced with facts in opposition of that belief, proving your belief to be untrue, that person, they actually ingrain themselves deeper into that belief. They don't,
that's a good,
and it's human nature, apparently.
And that's so,
yes. Yeah. And at a minimum, it stinks, right? So there's a rear leg swing.
Well, so that's that, whatever year that was. So for those who are in any way follow movement or whatever, knows that.
Keep that there because I got something to say about that.
I am. So I'm gonna pop up. So a couple weeks ago we did, we did this Kinatrack. So hopefully we can see this now. Is this up on my screen?
Yes.
All right. So here's Judge now. This is one of his home runs. Okay. It's not the same swing. It's not even close.
No.
Right. So
especially the arms and the hands.
Off its front foot hitting, and it's just
correct,
not close, right? So yeah, he may have done, but to say that Aaron Judge,
you can use this one for what I want to say too.
Boom,
right
there it is.
Yeah,
he's on his tippy toe, whereas the last one, if we go back,
well, and when you look at either one of these videos, proof positive.
Right.
That there's
a whole those two pictures are not.
If he were,
he's got all his weight on.
But that's what I'm saying. If there's no weight on the front foot, you're not gonna actually roll to the pinky toe side of your foot. That the only way you do that is having a tremendous amount of force on that foot, pushing it that way.
100%.
I mean, it's proof. So, and there's another perfect example of just something that's, it proves that what Teacher Man says is complete and utter garbage, and that there's zero pressure on the front leg, and it's entirely rear leg.
Yeah, there's no pressure on the front leg. Just watch. Here's a 6'7" man. Watch the front leg come down, squash the dirt, get his heel down, and once his heel is down, like he hasn't moved. Watch, he hasn't moved at all. His torso, it's translated forward a little bit as he puts his foot down. And again, this goes back to my merry-go-round where we need a stable post to rotate around, just like a merry-go-round. Now, here comes the heel. It's now down. Oh my God. What's this?
Back foot's already coming up. The hips are turning.
What's the hit? Is that what this is?
That's what's happening.
Where's the flip of the hands, Mike? Where's the flip? Where's the snap?
Right. No snap.
Just look, he's got a Major League Baseball logo right in the middle of his trousers there, pants, right in the back. And you can see As soon as that left foot is on the ground,
Starts
weight
to
is
move.
now translated because now he's on his toes of his back leg, and you'll see the belt and that turn.
Already on his front leg. Already on his front leg.
Front leg. Where's his hands? Where's his hands? Where's his hands? Where's his
Haven't
hands?
moved.
Oh, bam, there. And then still, I'd argue.
Well, you got the home plate.
I'd still argue that he hasn't moved his hands yet until
No, he hasn't.
hit the ball.
He hasn't, and you're not supposed to. And
Cool.
so one thing you look for, Kevin, is in this position is especially on those like kinematic sort of videos, is you can draw a home plate. It just looks just like a home plate right in here. It's like a box with a little triangle at the bottom. And again, even here, okay, he's so much pressure on the front foot that his front foot's starting to roll and bow out. You see that even like pre-contact with some hitters, where they're so front foot heavy and they're so front side dominant, they start pulling to that side, and you'll even see that foot turn like that pre-contact. But this is exactly what we're saying. Like now, what's Teacher Man going to do? We show that to him. We go, look, this is proof. This is proof. This is your guy, the one that you talk about all the time.
Just like the vaccine, he's going to tell me I'm looking at something, and he's done it. Oh, you're not. That's not what's happening.
He's never going to say I was wrong all this time. It's not all rear leg. It's there are two pillars of rotation, but he'll never ever say it because he's got a following. I'm sure he's doing very well financially off the stuff which is why we speak out against it, because there's too many people following this and it's hurting hitters. But yeah, I mean, that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen. And so it's important that we constantly, as best we can, and everyone out there that knows the correct thing to do here, the truth about hitting, needs to be out here talking about it all the time, because he's not shutting up about it, and he's going on and on. And every time Aaron Judge hits a home run, you'll see another video and like, well, look at this, see that rear leg? Like, no one sees it. No one sees it. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? There's no pivot of the forearm. There's no snap. There's no head up in the air like this. I just want one swing, just one, Richie. One where Aaron Judge is looking up at the sky like this. His left elbow's way up here.
The bat's perpendicular to the
just
ground.
Just one time.
Okay.
Get him to do it even off a front toss. I'll give it to you.
Right.
It's garbage. Okay. So now, all right. So Richie, why is it? All right. So we already said why that's a big deal. It's a big deal because he's constantly out there doing this. I know that all of my players that I coach, they're all on social media. They're all on Instagram. They're all on TikTok. They're all on Twitter, and they're viewing these videos. And I see it because, I'll see a video and I'll see I'll recognize names like by so-and-so, right? Everyone is familiar with that. And, I have direct access to obviously my players. I can tell guys that's garbage, and a lot of them know it's garbage, right? But not everyone else does. Not everyone else does. And a lot are actually going to follow that. And you got the problem, which is part of what we talked about last time, is the guys that you see reply and defend Richie, Teacher Man, are dads, dad coaches who go, my kid's been doing what Richie said and he's blah, blah, blah. Right.
Dad doesn't want to be duped either because he's spending a bunch of money, right? He's the one who's paid the money.
Yep. He's also convinced his kid that he's a hitting coach. Right. So, based off of Richie's teachings. So, but now this is getting beyond Richie, Kevin, right? So now some of the stuff we see in the pitching side, I would argue may even be wackier than what Teacher Man's doing.
Oh, Michael,
right?
funny you should say that. So, I got into it. Here's what people are going to say what they want. And I definitely don't engage on everything I see. I would have nothing. I would be like 24/7.
Yeah.
But like I've said before, if we have Teacher Man isn't going to send anyone to the operating table. Okay. He's going to send people.
Maybe this thing.
He's going to send people from AAA out of baseball. Okay. Or off their high school team. That's 0 for 30 in your tournament.
Yep.
We talk about pitching and I see a lot. It's just, it makes me ill. Okay. So
just look at the first thing that's written up there, Kevin. The other day, I ran into a data report on the differences between rear foot strike and front foot strike with pitchers. Fellas, what are we doing? What are we talking about? Like, talking about how it's everything so binary, you're either this or that,
But even LePage. So again, in the business world, in life, I have a little formula. If one thing is wrong, some of it's wrong. If two things are wrong, everything is wrong. Okay. Meaning you go to your accounting, you find one issue in your business. That's one mistake. Then you find another, you have to assume that everything is wrong.
Mhm.
So as we look at this picture, Michael, can you show me one pitcher in the world who's landed on their toe?
No.
Like in this picture? No. This is, and of course,
I don't even know how you do that.
I ran into data. What data? Who wrote it? What do these axes mean?
He's talking about the guy from Goonies.
Is that what, this is just word salad, right? It's word salad, right? So then he goes on and he's talking, and of course he tags like Jaeger Sports and some other Flat Ground, some other point. Okay, so then he says the real cause of rear foot strike and front foot strike what's the real cause? It's the difference in natural personal motor preferences.
Preferences, by the way.
Preferences. Now he capitalized that. So we capitalize things. I mean, I know I didn't really score very high in my SATs in English. But we capitalize things. That's a proper name. That means something actually exists with that actual title, right? That doesn't exist. Okay, there's no such thing.
No.
So now we have tweet 2 in this, that natural personal motor preferences don't exist anywhere published or anything like that. It's actually.
By the way, time out. Can I stop for a second?
Sure.
What's a natural preference?
I don't know. He doesn't explain.
How do you prefer something naturally?
Michael, stop. What are you doing? Come on.
He doesn't, but as I'm saying, this is it. Like just trying to make big titles and words and not even knowing what's freaking mean.
Now we go to the third tweet. Chain, AM chain. I'm assuming that's it. So there's posterior kinetic chain and anterior kinetic chain. So I'm sure AM chain athlete is what he's talking about. So he says AM chain athlete. Now the same ridiculous picture is up there.
Yep.
Higher activation ankle flexors. Okay, there's no such thing as ankle flexors. Dorsiflexion ankle joint. Dorsiflexion is a movement at the ankle joint. Landing towards front of COG, which I still don't know what that is. Support leg is more bent, pelvis tilted more back, upper body flexed, unwinding foot rather in pronation. Unwinding foot. Okay, there's no such thing as pronation of your foot.
No.
There's inversion, eversion, dorsiflexion, and plantar flexion. Okay. So what this tweet is complete and utter bullshit. It's absolute crap.
Well, I'll do you one better, Kevin, because a little bit further down, he changes the title of such whatever the hell he's talking. He says it's about laws of individual motor preferences. And then again, a preference cannot be a law.
All capitalized. Okay, so there's no such thing. But here's the best.
Sound like a dolt.
This is the best. That these laws, which don't exist, of motor preferences, which I mean, I guess I'm assuming how you prefer to move, is woven into your personality.
Right. Funny, charming.
So the funny guy,
jackass.
Does he have like it's woven into your personality?
Yeah, personality. And what is from the outset, by the way, your personality from the outset. So that means what? From birth? I mean, how else would you describe outset?
What does that mean? Like,
and then in such a way that coaches have no choice. You know what? I'm going to do this, Kevin, for everybody, right? So everyone listening, because we've been talking about. I'm just going to read the whole thing as is right now. 5 out of 5. This is his 5th paragraph. All right. Starts with has nothing. Okay. Has nothing to do with good or wrong. It's about laws of individual motor preferences that have been woven into personality and motor skills from outset in such a way that coaches have no choice but to join them.
What
Wow.
does it mean?
$10 to anyone who can decipher that.
Now, why am I, Kevin? Why are you all over this guy? What? No, that's not his feed. So then he's got these. We'll get these axes, but either he replied to a tweet, or let's see his replies. It may be, and this is a guy who owns some sort of company that with baseball like development.
Right.
So he replied to a tweet or said something that, oh, here it is. This totally knowledgeable with baseball. He basically said that mechanics, oh, here it is. Good or bad pitching mechanics does not exist. There is only a culture of standard pitching mechanics, efficacy, and energy saving movement.
Pitching mechanics is social construct.
What the bleep are you talking about? So, of course, I went after him like, yeah, there's all kinds of, there's the M, the T, and you can see it. How do you account? He's got this, like he's showing these pictures, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, let me see if I can open this thread here. Because he showed like two sprinters. So one is they're exactly opposite. Let's see if I can pull this up. Yeah, then he goes, of course, when you corner these guys and you expose them as frauds,
Mm-hmm.
here it is. My bad. You're right in the picture. Both bodies work the same. I'll have to find that picture. TJ loves you. So this guy basically said that I caused Tommy John surgery. Oh, here it is. Here's the picture. Now this guy, I'm going to read this. There's two guys taking off from a sprinter block. One picture, one guy on the left, one guy on the right. The guy on the right looks like he took off from a lower crouch. He's more head down. The other guy, but that it looks like, the guy on the left may be about to take his third step, where the guy on the right is only maybe taking his second. But both legs are behind. One leg is kind of internally rotated. One leg is externally rotated. Don't want to go into detail in the post because you can't. Okay. FYI, only comparison we can make is this from the individual itself. We all know everyone is different. Going to compare people, at least use athletes out the same window. Here are compare posterior kinetic chain, anterior kinetic chain. These athletes move opposite. What?
Wow.
So opposites. You know what? So that means if they're running forward, the other guy is running backwards. That would be opposite.
Right. Right.
And then
or even give them the benefit of the doubt. One would be using their posterior chain. One would be using their
so of
interior
course
posterior chain.
I say, how do you account for the trunk and front leg position, right? Because their trunks are in two different positions, as is their front leg, right? The other guy on the right doesn't have his front leg down.
Right.
Every joint movement has an effect on the next joint movement. To say they are moving opposite just because of the position of this hip is incorrect. Both of their bodies are in different positions. And that's when you come by with, of course, he comes back with the whole Tommy John thing.
TJ loves you.
Steve Jansen, love to have you on the show so you can explain your word salad garbage.
You won't come on. You can't type in English.
Well, he's a manager of the German national baseball team. I'd love to have you on so that you can explain this garbage. So,
right. I'm giving the benefit of the doubt here and say that maybe it's a language barrier in some of it. It has to be, because there's no way that someone with command of the English language would speak like that. I mean, it literally makes no sense. And he's got 50. He's going to have a whole ton of followers, but he's got 1,500 followers, and that's enough to influence people.
Yeah. So now we have this drawing of three baseballs, a Z and X, and a Y axis.
Yep.
Michael, what have you ever seen anything like that?
I actually have. This is how Rapsoda will describe spin, different types of spins.
Okay.
Right?
Maybe you can explain what this is. Okay.
Well, that's really all it is. It's like, so if you're looking at a computer model of how a ball's spinning, now I can tell you from the hitting perspective, the pitching, I think it's way more in depth because it depends on whether you're righty or lefty, curveball versus slider versus whatever. But if you can imagine you're hitting a ball, you want to hit a ball with, if you're looking at a clock, Kevin, 12 to 6, right? So the Z axis, right, should be what 9 to 6. I mean, not the the Z axis should be 12 to 6 as you're looking up and down, and there should be backspin. So the X axis, which he has right here, this is not exactly, I think, how Rapsoda would describe it. They would replace Z with X, but essentially you want backspin, and there's, depending on the angle of the bat, is going to determine what kind of spin you're going to put on the ball at any pitch. That's the basics. That's the very basic.
All right.
But again, so what? Now what? Okay, great.
So he's now saying, if you read this, that these axes are now somehow related to a pitcher in their preferred motor profile.
Yeah.
He's saying that these axes are due to the movement of your body. So, but I don't understand. The body moves, has 3 planes of motion. Okay. Transverse, which catches you in half, up and down. Coronal, which is front and back, and sagittal is cutting you in half left and right.
Right.
Something. It's been a while. So it's just like words that I don't even.
But herein lies the issue, right? So it's really, this is what's going to change pitching. This is what's gonna make the next great pitcher, is understanding, left foot strike, front foot strike versus rear foot strike. It doesn't have anything to do with posture and your front side alignment and understanding how to engage your posterior chain and keep your hips back and not bend your knees forward. It's people trying to, they're outsmarting themselves. This is above their own intelligence almost, right? So I mean, and I don't know, this guy might be a smart guy. I don't know the guy from a hole in the wall, but he's not coming across that way, because this is just absolute nonsense. And kids are seeing this stuff. And if a kid sees this, he's going to go, wow, I thought I had an idea on how to pitch. I have no clue. But in reality, he does.
Mechanical laws can't be applied one-on-one to human movement. So what mechanical laws? The laws of physics is, concave, convex rule. Like, what are you talking about? That can be applied to. It's like,
Yeah.
Because every athlete is endowed by Mother Nature and the gifts of his natural way of moving, perceiving, and thinking. Now, if that is some word salad to say that people can be coached out of good movement, I would 1,000% agree with that, because we've seen that. And like, again, no kid, your son, my daughter's, your daughter, no one ever got up, picked up a ball and got into a W or an M position. No one, because that's completely unnatural. No one would ever do that.
By the way,
they throw it like a pie.
Endowed by Mother Nature, blah, blah, blah. Have you ever seen Steve Alboni? How about Cecil Fielder?
Bye, Alboni.
How about Fernando Valenzuela? I mean, there's plenty of guys who weren't gifted with, superb athleticism that still played at a very, very high success rate in the MLB.
That kid, what, Naylor there for Cleveland? He's, and even that, what's the catcher for Toronto who looks like a little roly-poly guy?
Yeah.
He looks like a Weeble Wobble. Remember the Weeble Wobble? You push, keep going back? Right.
Yeah.
He's hitting well.
Fall over, but they won't fall down. Luis Sojo, remember him?
Yeah.
I mean, there's a ton of them. A ton of them. I mean, and that's the great thing about baseball is you don't have to be a phenomenal athlete to succeed at it. You don't. Sorry, but it's a lot of it's a learned dynamic, and you can be great at it. So this idea that you're putting all these word salads out there, you're talking about rear foot strike versus front foot strike, whatever. And then almost you're saying, actually, but none of that matters because, hey, if you're endowed by Mother Nature, you're just going to do all these things anyway, the right way. Right.
But Michael, the problem is that these upper management, these GMs are buying this crap.
Right.
And they're getting these alleged gurus into their organization, the drive lines, the tread athletics.
It's the influence. That's what it is.
Influence. And all they gotta do is look, dude, go a couple of decades back. Would one team like the New York Yankees have 7 Tommy John surgeries? 7 in 1 year?
Yeah. Plus, on the flip side, what would Nolan Ryan be throwing today? 174 miles an hour?
Right. And
with
then
all this technology,
did you see
all the
the stat?
smarts.
There was some tweet. It was, I thought of you and I should have saved it. So it had Otani, right? His career pitching numbers, the 3 year, all of combined. There were 2 years that Nolan Ryan beat all of those
Yeah.
in 1 year, like innings, strikeouts. He just on his whole career.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
But
so
Otani's Babe Ruth.
it's like, God, these guys weren't injured. They threw more innings. Their ERAs were lower. They won more games, and we're enamored with this velocity, and no one can throw a strike. The game,
Oh, and you forgot.
hours, right?
Yeah.
And it's either the home run, the strikeout, and that's it. That's baseball.
You're forgetting one giant metric. They were healthier.
Yeah, and again,
And they were healthier.
I had a meeting, I guess, with this armcare.com. They're trying to, they got a pretty good device that measures, again, I'm not going to agree with everything on the planet, right?
Valgus force.
Yeah, well, it does measure your range of motion, measures your strength. It gives people numbers, right? People like numbers. So, the position they measure in, is it functional? I'm not gonna split hairs, but
Yep.
they were good guys. And the one thing they talked about, which of course, another segue, is the pitch count, how pitch count just isn't working. Again, I have another blog coming out this week about how pitch count isn't working and there needs to be done more. And I even said that this is like, you and I are working on tests that any coach can do pre bullpen, after bullpen, after each inning,
Mid game. Yep.
mid game, to keep arms safe. That will take literally, if it takes a minute, that would be long. Because again, you could throw one pitch and be done. I mean, you saw the kid from the Little League World Series throw a pitch in the American final game and drop like a sack of bricks, right?
Sad to see. Yep.
He hurt his growth plate, right? So, yeah, it's years ago we had he's throwing curveballs too young, right? That was the big thing, right? And now you see, you watch these videos, Mike, and these guys doing the run and gun and flipping over, and I'm just like cringing, right? I'm cringing because not one person in any of those videos knows anything. We're talking about science and all these driveline people with their science. Of course, like, can you explain the scapulohumeral rhythm to me and why it's so important in pitching? And it's cool. I get this sound. Can you tell me your injury rate? Right. Again, there you go.
Yeah.
Right.
Or worse, you get insults.
That's the best thing. Yeah, like that guy. Welcome to Tommy John. Yeah.
And that's the worst part about it to me, because again, look at, if you have ideas and you're trying to make the game better and you're trying to make kids better, God love you. Great.
Yes.
Right. But when you're saying some pretty off the wall, wacky stuff, and someone wants you to explain that, be ready to explain it. Back your stuff up. How hard is that? How hard is it? It's not hard, especially when you're going to speak like, you're the foremost authority on any given subject, right? And you're sounding like a scientist. That's and they all have their niche, right? So it's like one guy's obsessed with hip to shoulder separation. That's all they talk about. You have hip to shoulder separation. You're going to throw. Next guy's about 3x, the triple extension, right?
Right.
It's just, come on, guys.
Like I had, there was this. It was a Tom House drill, or someone claiming to be, they're starting, spinning and throwing the ball against the wall in 90 degrees of abduction.
Yeah.
So I tweeted out, I can't believe that these gurus in today's day will do a drill where the arms start in 90 degrees of abduction. Someone went back and asked the question, well, what's wrong with that? Great question. I'm going to tell you. When you have full abduction away from the body, the shoulder blade doesn't turn at all. It doesn't move. And your rotator cuff and labrum are just banged up against the top of your acromion, causing an impingement before you even throw. The guy was like, whoa, I never knew that. So I make a statement and then back it up. I didn't attack the guy, didn't call the guy dumb. I just said, here's a factoid that's provable. Just look up Anyone can look up scapulohumeral rhythm and see it's supposed to be 3 to 2, and straight abduction, the shoulder blade doesn't move, causing a tremendous amount of force on the shoulder. And why you would ever want to start any movement from the T position is insanity.
No, I know. And yet we're still doing it. And that's another thing that no one stopped to look at and say, well, geez, I wonder if one of these things that we're doing is creating, or wonder if maybe it's one of the things we're talking about all the time, that forcing an exaggerated amount of hip to shoulder separation may actually be hurting, which, in my opinion, it's certainly not helping in terms of injuries.
No. And I don't understand why we have, I mean, the scapulohumeral rhythm. I mean, I learned that like first day of anatomy and physiology, first day of movement.
Sure.
So that means if you're a physical therapist, you had to know this law, but yet you let this go. Like, that's what I don't understand. Like, we know it's bad, and maybe we don't, because I think I've told you a bunch of times how I'll see ads from people promoting physical therapy and doing lateral raises. Picture. I want to go through there and be like, "Are you insane?" But
it's true.
It's insane.
All right, I'm gonna try to find. There was something.
Oh, so while you're looking for that, I've got a public service announcement.
Okay.
So we've talked numerous times
Yes.
in regards to a physical therapy company in Erie, Pennsylvania, that had 4 offices, had a bunch of,
Oh, yes.
and were doing quite well financially because it looks like they were serving the public well. Well, someone got angry. They didn't get a raise and blew the whistle on them. So there's a lot of whistleblowing going on. And, FBI agents came in and raided. They indicted, I think, 18 physical therapists, the owners, big, huge case.
Yep.
Now, the owners, as I said, were doing a couple things shady to cover up what they had done. And really what they had done is, treated multiple people at the same time, and then billed separately for each of those. What I mean by that is, if Mike, you came in, your daughter came in, your wife, and I treated you for that hour, 1 hour, I would bill you an hour, Sarah an hour, and Ellen an hour. Well,
right.
I billed 3 hours, but I was only there an hour, right? Me. So I can't really do that.
Right.
Allegedly.
You didn't have 3 hours of work. Right.
Yeah. So I shouldn't say allegedly. I can't really do that. Okay? I'm not gonna say alleged. You can't do that. But if anyone's been to physical therapy that's not cash based, you will see all these people being treated by students, being treated by age. You'll see tons of people in the clinic, right? Your therapist will bounce around, right? There's no way that they're just billing for 1 hour of time.
Right.
Okay? In Massachusetts, your 1 hour of time for the following insurance companies, you will starve. The Charlie Baker saved Harvard Pilgrim. Reimbursement for physical therapy for an hour, $60. Tufts Health Plan. Reimbursement for physical therapy for an hour, $60. Blue Cross Blue Shield, about 102. Medicare, about 125, right? If you're paying your therapist $45 or $50 an hour, you're losing money unless you're seeing more than one person at a time, right? And that's just what people have done.
Yep.
Now, someone, like I said, these guys were moving people around their schedule. They have done some Medicare stuff that was like, some of the Medicare rules are you can't treat anybody else when a Medicare patient is there, which is really stupid. Again, the government.
Yeah, why? I don't understand that at all.
Michael, I don't understand. I don't get it at all. So these guys are going to go to jail. So I mean, this is like $40 million. They went back. These insurance companies go back to day one, right? Back to day one now, and they're after them. So I'm going to tell you a little true story. So when I first opened my government physical therapy practice back in 1999, I had worked for a guy. Now, obviously, the FBI is a federal case. This is big, right?
Yep.
It's a big house. When the feds come in, It's not, as people should know, not if, it's how long. So how long is this? How long are these guys going to jail for? Or what? You have to pay back money, whatever they have to do. Right? They're in trouble. So that's going to turn the physical therapy world on its side because, as I said before, stock in these big companies have plummeted because there's no way that they're going to be able to treat multiple people at the same time and bill, which has really been almost a standard of practice because you can't survive. You just cannot survive. So I opened up the clinic and I started. This is how times have changed. 1999 to today. I started to get EOBs, which is an explanation of benefits, which shows what I've been paid. I wasn't paid, but they were names that I didn't know. And what clued me in on the ethnicity of some of the names was in an area where I used to work. Large Asian population.
Mhm.
Turns out the employer that I worked for, who wasn't a physical therapist, continued to bill under my name and provider number as if I was still there.
Wow.
For we have no idea how long. I called every insurance company on the planet and said, this is happening with every time I got an EOB, say, hey, this fraud is being committed. No one batted it. No one even blinked. I called Medicare, the government, didn't blink. I went to the Attorney General, which at the time, Michael, lived in Watertown, right? The response from the Massachusetts Attorney General was, well, can you add it up, the damage? So I ended up spending $225,000 of the company's money to defend, to make sure that this guy stopped and that my name was cleared. So if someone, 3 months down the road says, well, I'm suing so-and-so, my name's written all over that. So now fast forward to today, now we've got the FBI ratings. Wish the FBI would have rated them. I wouldn't have, ridiculous
Right.
that kind of money. But
That's crazy.
that's certainly going to change that's an update, and that's going to change the physical therapy world forever. All right, Michael, what do you got? Did I give you enough time of
Yeah, no, I got two things. I actually resent them to you, so you have them.
I got them. Okay.
Yeah, I think we can end with
My chat.
some too light. First one is the it says rocks system.
Oh yes.
Yeah. So
let me. Oh, why did this come to my?
I just texted to your phone number.
Yes, but it didn't come to my messenger here. Let me shut this off. All right. So explain while I'm doing this what this rocks.
So this is a catching camp, I guess it would be.
Okay.
Several catchers doing some throwing drills.
It looks like they're jump throwing.
Yep. They are indeed jump throwing, and not just jump throwing. There's some other, I don't even know what you call it, almost like from a sleeper stretch to a throw type of things. Yeah. I think the rest of you kind of have to see it, but
yeah, hold on. I'm gonna do this. Give me a sec. If not, I'm just gonna forward it to myself. All right, so let me do that. It's technical difficulties here. The rocks. So how many followers do they have? That's
all right. Let's see.
That's always important for me.
1,622 followers.
Okay.
Again, not huge.
No, but still
big enough, right? Looks like they retreated a Jeff Fry thing about the it was about the Bellinger. Everybody's all over Bellinger right now. And this is another thing too, talking about what we were talking earlier. It's like the binary. Hey, you're doing this one thing. You're never going to hit that way. Well, all I keep hearing, especially from the old timers, are like, hey, there's no one way to do it. You can hit 1,000 different ways, which is not true, but whatever. That's the narrative from some of these guys that played, back when. So how is this one little thing gonna, so you're admitting that there's absolutely a right way and a wrong way to do something or not? Because you can't have it both ways. And, I'll be totally transparent. I haven't studied Bellinger's current swing and what's going on with him to see what, if I haven't, because look at guys go into funks all the time. You know, it is what it is. Apparently he's been just striking out a ton. And so, you know, but of course everyone wants to blame quote unquote online gurus. And yes, we tape a big heaping pile of, you know what, on a lot of the online gurus for sure. But I doubt Cody Bellinger's going on Instagram and getting tips on his swing and applying it. So I don't really think that that's who they're talking about. But you know, again, from what I understand, he's hitting with a flat bat, which really just means this. So instead of standing here when you're in a loaded position, your bat's like at a 45-degree angle, and some would kind of have it cocked a little bit this way. He's instead kind of letting it fall back this way. Now, your top hand does that anyway as you rotate and get the barrel into the zone, whether it's way back here or it's down here. You're just kind of preloading it in that position. It's not a big deal. When it does become a big deal, Kevin, though, is when you get this, when that's the elbows that come up,
right,
to do it instead of the hands, so you can maintain your load position. So I'll take a look, and maybe next week's podcast we'll do a little breakdown of Cody Bellinger's swing from, I don't know. It looks like people are saying last year and a half ago he was good, and we'll try to put that up against the one he has right now and this little funk that he's in, and see what we can find.
I'm on the Rock system looking for that tweet because it's not coming to my phone. It came to my phone, but not on my computer, so I can't.
Do you have an Apple computer?
Yeah, I do. Let me see if I do.
That's weird.
Yeah, I know. It's been.
Well, this was a few days ago. They tweet a lot. There's a lot of tweets here. See Max Scherzer. Yeah, well, you know what? If you can go to your messenger, you actually sent this to me a little while ago, so you can pull it up from that.
Oh, I did.
I just resent it to you. I resent it to you.
Let me see if I have that.
And the same thing with the second message that I want to talk about here. And it's not that far up either, Kevin. It's only from Monday. Sorry, was it a little before Monday? No, that's correct.
I'll find it.
Yeah. Acute to yeah, it's very, very.
But I sent it.
Yeah.
I shot the clerk.
I shot the clerk.
I shot the
I
clerk.
shot the clerk. I shot the clerk.
I shot the clerk. I sent it. Yeah,
So
I gotta figure out how to do it. I gotta figure out how to connect my phone.
yeah, because you would ask me, you're like, what is this? Can you explain what this is? And it was right around the time you sent the other one that I want to talk about, which is the so we finally have a full visual display of, and if you can find that one, you can put that one up first, because that one you sent to me also on Monday. It's basically the skeleton. We're looking at the pelvis and femur section of a skeleton. And so thankfully our good friend teacher man found a way to explain this hip socket.
Oh yes, the hip socket.
Yeah, movement. So we can fully understand it, all us dummies that, and so if you're looking, Kevin, Monday at 10:55 is when you sent the one that I just sent back to you. And this Richie skeleton's about an hour later. Come on, Kev. On now.
I know.
On now, babe.
Get out of mine. So the problem is the messenger on my computer is not updating itself.
Not refreshing and updating.
Yeah. So I gotta hold on. I gotta restart it.
I think you need to go see your computer guy.
Oh, I could do that.
We could also just do this old school. I'm gonna hold it right up. All right. While Kevin's looking for that, I'm just going to explain the first one. If we get to see it, it's great.
Watch this.
Whoa, fully loud.
Another teacher, man. So that's not
Okay.
Keep going.
So we got a whole row of catchers playing catch with each other, and they're not playing a traditional game of catch. Maybe they started that way. The video shows is catchers jumping up in the air and throwing to one another. Okay. And there is some audio to it, but none of it makes sense. So if we have the audio, great. If not, he's not making sense. Anyway, but the idea, the belief that we want to strengthen the arm by taking all of the muscles that actually you should be throwing the ball with out and away from the throw, not only stupid, but dangerous. Absolutely dangerous. That's exactly how you get hurt, is by doing things like this. And it's the repetition of it. Does that mean a kid can never make a play, leave his feet, make it? Of course not. Right. Of course. Right. But when you're practicing it and you're doing it over and over again, you're just asking for some kid to get hurt. And then beyond that, so in the air is not good enough. We also have to do it from a laying position. And you get these kids laying on the ground and literally like you'd roll over in bed and making a throw to their partner. Again, I'd love, anyone has that would like, please email us with an explanation. If anyone thinks they have an idea, and I mean this sincerely, what that's helping.
I know what you can do.
What can you do?
Put the link in the chat. I might be able to get it from there because it's not coming up on my.
It's okay.
Put that link in the chat, and I'll be able to pull it up.
I don't even know how to put that in the chat.
We'll click on chat and then go to link and then paste it. Did you find it on your phone?
Yeah, but it's on my phone. But I can. All right. This is
for the rocks, the catching thing. I can't.
Yeah, this is.
When was the date that they put that there?
I told you it was just on Monday.
No. What was the
oh, I don't know. Here, I'm going to put it in the chat for you. Okay.
There we go.
Type message here. Boom.
Oh, let's see what we got.
Did it go? I don't think it went. Doesn't want to go.
So what was the date of the catching thing? That's what I need.
I don't know. I think we burnt it. We can do it next. So we can show the video of it next time. We're actually already about an hour anyway.
Looks like they tweet out every 6 seconds. So.
Yeah. It was a while ago.
Wait a minute. Just wait 1 minute.
Normal throwing pattern. Therefore, we should train that way. Create situations that take us
We
out.
don't have the video, but we have the audio.
Force us to adjust our throws. Lastly, have fun with these situations. There is no cookie cutter way to train.
All right, let's go back to the beginning of this, Kev.
Teammates or training partners.
Took me a while. Why is there a kid catching lying on his back?
That's what I'm talking about.
As catchers, game situations force us to adjust our norm.
Game situations. So we have guys lying on their back.
Yeah. Again.
Have you ever seen a catcher lie on his back and throw on his back?
No. And if they ever did, I can tell you, me personally as a coach, I would tell them to never do that again. Never, ever do that again. Get up and make a throw. If it's too late, eat it. Right? We'll try to get the next guy. I mean,
These guys throwing like sidearm.
Oh yeah, they're just like it's just get it and get rid of it. No more. And what was that kid doing with his glove? That they had him doing there.
Here's the Derek Jeter jump throw.
This is the jump throw, because you never know when you have to jump in the air and make a throw as a catcher. Please, someone explain that to me. When is a catcher of all people gonna have to jump in the air to make a throw? Nope, it's not to get over a runner going to first, because you got to get outside and create a lane for yourself to throw that inside outside.
Mm-hmm.
So this, again, you want to do stuff that's different and new and fresh and, keep the kids engaged and excited. I'm all for that. I get it. I totally get it. I mean, when we're hitting with our hitters, like for the first, 2 months almost of the off season, where we're basically just on the tee. Right. And I know that can be boring and monotonous. I get it. So we try to do different things too to keep it fresh. But what are we doing, folks? I just don't. You know what I'm saying? What are we doing? Why don't we teach the fundamentals of the game the best way we know how? Why don't we open dialogue so that we can talk about things? Rock systems, whatever. I'd love for them to come on and say, hey, look, this is why we're doing that. And maybe it is a simple explanation. Hey, look, that was day 7 of a catching camp, and it was, a little fun at the end. Cool. Fine. Understood. But that's what when you're highlighting that on social media, it doesn't come across that way.
Not according to what he's saying.
Right.
But
so I think maybe we need to start posting some of our own videos of our own
Yes,
training.
without question. We'll have to post that on our YouTube account, which we can do.
We have, by the way, I've got, oh, there we go. That's more audio.
That was you, not me, right?
So we're going to have a new producer coming on. By the way, just in case you're wondering, Ryan Gagne
Producer
Fructis
and former guest.
yes, is doing just fine. And Ryan will be back on. I actually talked to Ryan. We'll have him on back in, but he's got a new job that his schedule's a little erratic and it's hard to nail down when he came on the show. But we do have.
Have you talked to Ryan?
I have indeed talked to Ryan.
Do you have any audio of you talking to him?
Yeah, it was something like I started a new job and it's like as soon as I started that, I had like a meeting during the day until they don't even tell me when the meetings are until 20 minutes before. So if you're ever gonna have it evening or something like that, but even then it has to be after 10:30 because that's when my daughter goes to bed. So it's hard. There's a very small window where you can get Ryan Gagne Fructis. So he's a legend. So we'll try to get him when we can. But in the meantime, we have another, as Kevin said, former guest, who's now become a staff member and coach and instructor at the Farm Baseball Performance Institute. And we'll leave it at that. We'll surprise you with the rest. We'll see if anyone can figure it out. But he was one of our earlier guests, and he was a collegiate baseball player.
Yeah, we'll definitely leave it at that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if you want to contact the show, you can reach us by email at info@proveitlive.com. You can visit our YouTube channel and subscribe. We'll definitely be putting some how-to videos up there rather than just videos from the show. And that's all I got. Michael, what do you got?
That's it. We'll get Kevin's Messenger fixed, and we'll start putting some of the videos we already have because I do want to start doing those on the show. I think that'd be cool, Kev. Right? If we do a couple of them, yeah. So we'll do that as well. And that's it. I hope everyone has a great Labor Day, rest of the Labor Day weekend, and au revoir. We'll see you next time.
Au revoir. Later.